Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with another episode of Dave's Faves. And today we're going back to Haydn. Actually, we've only done in the first 50 of these one Haydn, I think. We just did the Paris symphonies, and I could do nothing but Haydn very, very easily. But I think, since we're doing the Symphony Crusade and we have to get up to that one, we're doing plenty of Haydn. But this is Haydn, and this is one of my all-time favorite Haydn recordings. It just blew me away the first time I heard it, and it still does. Here it is. Trevor Pinnock and crew doing Haydn's Lord Nelson Mass and the Te Deum. Now, I adore these pieces. The Nelson Mass is, of course, the most popular of all the late Haydn Masses because it's the only one in a minor key. It's in D minor, and the original scoring is fabulous. It's nothing but strings, trumpets, timpani, and organ. It has this gaunt, threatening sonority. It's not just your everyday D minor. This is serious D minor. This is Mozart, Don Giovanni D minor. This is Gluck, the Dance of the Furies D minor. This is serious D minor, scary D minor, phenomenal. The recapitulation, because the first movement really is in straight sonata form, the Kyrie, where the soprano goes flying above the rest of the chorus. It's just one of the most thrilling moments in all of music. And of course, that's the problem people have with the Haydn Masses. They're thrilling, and Masses are not supposed to be thrilling. But I do think it's worth pointing out that the reason that Haydn was so interested in vocal music at the end of his career, and especially this liturgical music, and the two big oratorios as well, was because he knew that however hard he worked on string quartets and symphonies, that instrumental music was never considered as important as vocal music. That's the first thing. That's why Haydn had wished he could have written operas like Mozart did, because these things, they had the additional glamour, if you want to call it that, or potential of surviving. And I think at the end of his life, Haydn was very concerned that his greatest works should survive him, because he knew how good they were. He really did. But symphonies and works written for the aristocracy, as soon as they were a week old, they were yesterday's news. There was no canon of classical music in those days. And so Haydn was really, really concerned about doing something that would have some permanence. And these late masses were his vote for his own immortality, his effort to achieve that artistically, just for the same reason that Bach, did the B minor Mass. When he, which was never performed in his lifetime. He just assembled a Mass. No one knows why. But it was there as a compendium of everything that he could do. And these late Masses fulfilled very much the same ambition when it came to Haydn, the same purpose. And I really am actually rather curious about some of this stuff, because what happened to these pieces? In the Jewish tradition, for example, I don't know how many of you know this, but in the Jewish tradition, you cannot dispose of any written document, book, piece of writing, notes, whatever, memoranda that contain the name of God. They are considered shemot, or shemus, as we call it in the old Ashkenazic version, or shemus, if you're really into the Yiddish stuff. That the Shem is name. It means name. The Hebrew word for God is Hashem, the name. You don't say God's actual name. And so Shemot means names, and it's the pile of names of God. And these have to be buried with appropriate ceremony in a Jewish cemetery. And I know in the Catholic tradition, for example, religious articles and other things of a similar nature are either buried or they're burned and the ashes are buried. So things that are religious or sacred, even if they're dramatic, and we don't consider Haydn sacred music to be all that religious all the time, it would have been treated, in my view, with a certain level or degree of reverence that his Symphony number 94 probably would not have been given. And so you see that's what he was sort of after in these pieces. And I think he worked extra hard to make sure that the music was worthy of the good Lord and of the talents that the good Lord bestowed upon him. And boy, is that evident in the Lord Nelson Mass. What a great piece this is. And this performance is stunning. Absolutely stunning. It's the English concert, right? And choir. And it's wonderfully well recorded. The chorus sings fantastically. The soloists are Felicity Lott. Yeah. And boy, does she soar over the ensemble. And Carolyn Watkinson and Maldwin Davies and David Wilson Johnson, all in their prime, all in marvelous voice. And Nicholas Parle is the organist, just in case you didn't know. But even just as much, I wouldn't say more, but just as much fun as the Lord Nelson Mass is the Te Deum. Haydn wrote 2 Te Deums, one at the beginning of his career and this one for the Empress Maria Theresa, or Theresia, or the one with the eye, or whatever one she was. It's called the Te Deum for Maria Theresa, or Theresia, or Empress, whatever her name was. And it is such a great work. It's actually only about 8 minutes long. It's quite short. And it is, informally, it's the model, for example, for the Bruckner Te Deum, which is 25 minutes long. But, it has extremely similar sectional divisions and overall work. But the thing about this that's so much fun is just the tunefulness of it. My goodness, if anyone was prepared to celebrate God with cheerfulness and jubilation, it was Haydn. And this piece has a huge orchestra. It's got trumpets and trombones that are just blasting away. I sang this in college, and it is so much fun to sing. The opening, I did a little talk about this piece already, a little video. The opening is basically a college fight song. It's Te Deum laudamus, Te Dominum confitemur. Yeah, it's like, go, fight, win. It's just absolutely phenomenal. Once you get it into your head, you'll never get it out. It's just at the ending, when they're all screaming, non confundar in aeternum. That last, in a tear. The trombones come blasting in, and you get a very good sense of where perhaps Mr. Brahms got the ending of his Second Symphony, because it's really a similar concept. This is just stunning. And this performance, there is no greater performance of the Te Deum than this one. There really isn't, which is what I said in that previous video. So I think if you're looking for a Haydn Mass introduction to his sacred music or choral music, get this. It can't go wrong. It's just splendid. I listen to this actually fairly regularly, all things considered, because I just think musically it's so thrilling. It just sends a shiver down my spine. Both of these works, they have moments that are among the most stunning things in all of choral music. And as usual with Haydn, they are, even though this is his most popular Mass setting, it still tends to be somewhat neglected or not respected the way it really ought to be, because it's just a flaming masterpiece. And I know that you will all keep on listening to Haydn's Masses. So thank you so much for joining me, friends. Take care.